one of those days when you realize that it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're still wearing your pajamas, and you've just spent 2 hours of your life trying to figure out how much boobs sweat? No? Anybody? Recently it came to light on the internet that there are now a few companies selling deodorant for your boobs. My first thought was, do boobs even have a smell? My second and more logical thought was, how much do boobs actually sweat? I did see some reactions from women saying, I don't know about this deodorant aspect of it, but an antiperspirant for breasts could be kind of helpful because let's face it, ladies, boob sweat happens. And I would say that there are 2 major classifications of boob sweat. Between the boob sweat and then the underneath the boob sweat, which some people call swoob. Unfortunately, I could not find the precise amount of sweat that the female chest area would produce on average. How much you sweat is going to depend on a lot of factors. It's going to depend on your sex. Women actually have a higher concentration of sweat glands on their body, but men have more active sweat glands. You also have environmental factors like how hot it is outside, what's the humidity like, what kind of fabrics are you wearing. Helpful hint, ladies, poly blends. Bad swoob news. Take it from someone who knows. Oh, come on, not a ladies. But to give you a sense of how much breast sweat in comparison to other parts of the body, according to Grey's Anatomy, the textbook, not the Shonda Rhimes hit, there are around 155 sweat glands per square centimeter across the human chest, which is about the same sweat gland concentration as the skin on your forearms and your stomach. How much do boobs sweat? About as much as your stomach and forearms. How about that for a precise answer? Mathematically speaking, that does mean that the larger the bust line, the greater the surface area of the skin on the chest, therefore a higher number of sweat glands. Speaking of big busted ladies, boob sweat can be a particularly annoying problem for them, not because they have especially sweaty boobs, but simply because, especially in the swoob area underneath the boobs, sweat and heat can get trapped under there, and when you combine that with some friction that can go on, you might end up with a rash, or even, if you don't take care of that rash, a yeast infection. But there are simple ways to keep issues like that under control. For instance, if you've been exercising, make sure to dry the under boob area thoroughly. You might want to apply some baby powder and wipe the area down with isopropyl alcohol, which can prevent the chafing and help disinfect. No fancy boob deodorant needed. For the 2 to 3% of the general population that suffers from something called hyperhidrosis or excessive sweating, boob sweat might not be solved with home remedies because that's actually a case of overactive sweat glands and you probably need to go see your doctor. For everybody watching, I have a little Google experiment I'm curious for you to try, and let me know what happens in the comments. When I searched sweatiest part of the female body, Google suggested that I meant sweetest part of the female body. But when I changed the female to male, Google was like, oh yeah, sweatiest part of the male body. Beep, boop, doop, doop, boop. Fun fact, it's the upper back. So apparently the internet doesn't think the girls sweat, but we know the truth, ladies.